Please make sure you travel on the left part of the train. Please travel in front of 4 coaches of the train for Tyndall Lower, Dalmally, Blackall, Taylor, Londonderry.
Hello from Glasgow Queen Street, and I've timed my visit to Queen Street so I can film the 11:41 to Aberdeen leaving, which is a high-speed train, because ScotRail is becoming the last refuge of these high-speed trains which people really worship. And there's the Aberdeen train leaving, bang on time at 11:41 I think, and I've just been chatting to a ScotRail driver. Into the murky dark tunnel. Lovely. Great. That's the first class caboose, as I call it, on the Edinburgh train, and I have done a separate film on travelling first class between Glasgow and Edinburgh. You can see the link here. Train arriving from Oban, which has the Highland Explorer wagon attached to the rear. Oh yeah, look at that. I've done a separate video on the Highland Explorer, which you must have a look at. I am surprised that ScotRail still use the Highland Explorer vehicle in November. I don't know how many bikes they've had on it. The capacity is 20. The way she blows. There is now direct access from platform 2 down to the low-level platforms 8 and 9. So there we have it, platform 9, platform 2, and platform 8, which is westbound. And there's the way out to Dundas Street. I'll explain the exits in a minute or two. Accessibility lifts on platform 7, and that's more logical to go to platform 7 to reach platform 8. And there's a screen on the left for staff only, giving the train head code numbers.
8, lower level.
What I love about the low-level platforms are these huge maps where you can see the route. The lighting's not brilliant, but it's okay. And I'm now looking along the platform eastbound, and you see there are steps going up to North Hanover Street. Here comes the train from Aberdeen, which is, I believe, a 5-coach job. Train to Oban, Fort William and
The next
Mallet.
train to depart from platform 1 will be the 12:25 ScotRail service to Falkirk Gate. Platform 1 for the 12:25 ScotRail service to Falkirk Gate.
And there's the 2 catering outlets on the station concourse. And there's the Dundas Street exit. That's the North Hanover Street exit. And you can go down that way to George Square. And there's a view of George Square through the front window. But I'm going to go down the ramped accessibility ramp exit. The M&S food hall is relatively new. I forgot it was there. And there's the ticket office over there as well, by the Dundas Street exit. A ScotRail guy just asked me if I was filming people. They don't mind me filming the station or trains, but they don't like train spotters filming people. But we had a nice chat anyway. We were laughing about Gregs popping up everywhere towards the end of the conversation. But that's what people are like in Glasgow. When you engage with them, they engage back. That's the side entrance to Queen Street Station on North Hanover Street. And you see people emerging on the right from the slope up from the low-level platform. Down there you'll see George Square, where the main entrance to the station is. And that's the entrance to the low-level platforms off North Hanover Street. The pedestrian access is a bit limited. It's just a side path along here because that's a railway staff car park to the right. It's not by any means the most salubrious entrance to Queen Street Station, with the rubbish bins immediately outside and the parking space for ScotRail vans and the BT police. They do at least thank you for travelling. ScotRail, it says. And where do you put your bike on Queen Street Station? Well, why not put it in the cycle hub? So this is where my bike is going while I walk around for 10 or 15 minutes. And this is Queen Street Station taken from George Square. When they were reconstructing the station, it was briefly voted as the worst station in Britain. Now I think it's one of the best. And I draw your attention to the steeple, which is St George's in the Tron Church, where there is an excellent cafe which raises money to help feed the homeless in Glasgow. So we'll have a look at that in a minute as well. It's a close-up from the Queen Street side of George Square. Behind me is Queen Street, and to my left is Wetherspoons. There's the Wetherspoons outdoor area. And this is looking along West George Street. George Square is on the right. And there's the church with the cafe that I mentioned. So you see the church with the cafe is very close to Queen Street Station. And I'd encourage you to support independent cafes, especially if they raise money to feed the homeless. And there's the sign giving the opening hours. And there's a little view up the beautiful tower. And this is the Dundas Street entrance. And there's a step and an accessibility ramp through that door. And the door up there takes you through to the ticket office and the Marks and Spencer's, which has just arrived on the station. A view up Dundas Street, and I've just been in that cafe, which has just opened because they're advertising craft beer, but they charge £7.50 a pint for draft beer, which I think is a bit over the top for Glasgow anyway. And this is the exit you would use onto Dundas Street to find your way to the subway. And there's the subway entrance. Not particularly obvious, but it's there. And there's the subway entrance. And there's the ScotRail entrance. And I'm on Buchanan Street. And if you look down there, next to Greg's, there is a little snicket called Dundas Lane, which goes through to Queen Street Station and the subway station. Here are some pictures I took in 2018 from George Square, after the previous buildings at the front of the station had been demolished. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to sponsor me with a coffee for making these lovely films, please see the link here to Ko-fi.